What is going on, and welcome back to another video in Finding Freedom. So I know the title is going to catch some people that are a little bit sensitive off guard, but if you could watch Netflix and chill and watch Lucifer, Supernatural, and everything else, let me talk like the dumb fuck in Four Brothers that ran his mouth before Bobby Mercer came up. Excuse me. My name is Michael Guerrero. I'm a former United States Marine. I curse like a sailor, but you're going to love me. When crisis calls, I tell you right now, you're going to want Marines there. They go in first, and then the other ones lead the way to direct them. So, here we go. How would the devil speak to Jesus today? Now, not saying that I'm the devil, but Drake, they're not slow, and Drake makes devil dogs, so let's go. Now, if you ever seen Lucifer, you had a meta deal, right? And a meta deal was portrayed as one of God's strongest warriors in the show, right? But I was in Raleigh, and it was crazy. I had this guy get in my back seat while I was working and everything. Gave him a ride, hooked him up. He needed a ride. And he was like, "Did you know you were God's favorite?" And I was like, "I don't think you understand how that works. I don't think you know what you're talking about." And it kind of reminded me of the show Lucifer, right? Because a meta deal was talking about, God's favorites, on and so forth. And then the genius actually ended up being God's favorite. Think about it, right? And it was so crazy, right? Because, like, for instance, I got a little brother named CJ. And he's like, "Oh, Michael makes this look easy. And I play Call of Duty. I was thinking about joining the Marines like Michael." And someone said, "Oh, they get the chance to die first." And he goes, "Oh, who gets the chance to die second?" And I was like, he's like, "I'll join them." I started laughing, right? Because I know he didn't want to actually do that, or he wasn't actually about that life. He just wanted to play along, let the other people do stuff, and if they get to die or whatever, then they die, so on and so forth, blah, 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 blah. And then he gets to, collect all the benefits once, the actual work is done. So how would the devil talk to Jesus in the modern day? I mean, think about it, right? Because Jesus was in the desert with the devil, right? So let's start there. I'm not a preacher, but some might say or tell you something, because it's true. I almost became a priest once. However, you can't talk like this in church. It might hurt some people's ears. They might get offended, whatever, right? And then, of course, other people are scared. They use fear tactics, etc. And don't worry, if you're going to impede on First Amendment rights, girl, I took notes at the law library if you need proof. But then again, if the laws only benefit those that have certain credentials, like a driver's license that you give out to 16-year-olds, then bring it. So I'm going to continue now. In the desert, remember, it was a certain time frame, like 30, 40 days or whatever. So let's say Jesus was getting high, right? Smoking that shit, smoking weed, right? Well, it takes about 30 to 40 days for it to come out of your system, right? Because he was probably going to get tested, right? So the devil was like, "Yo, check this out. If we're dealing with the modern day and age, you should probably chill out for a little bit. Why don't you eat something? Why don't you drink some water? Why don't you stop doing that? Why, etc." Except in the Bible, it talks about turn stone into bread. Well, if you watch the TV show Hustle, Michael Stone, whatever the case may be, are you going to turn him into food and be a cannibal? Go ahead, I'll wait for it. I mean, he said, "Why don't you take a leap of faith?" Oh, so you're an assassin. You play Assassin's Creed. You got a lot of video games, so you play that, right? So jump off and let the angels catch you. Don't worry, I'll put a barrel of hay there, just in case you need to get bailed out. I mean, think about it. How would he talk to him, right? Would he talk to him like a devil dog? Or would he talk to him, "All right, guys, can you please come on? It's okay. We got enough technology and money and so on and so forth. We control everything. So don't worry. You're going to get your car. You're going to get your whip. We're going to give you a big paycheck. We'll probably put you on a team somewhere, or, whatever. We'll hook you up with the homies. We'll look the other way as long as, you break us off every once in a while." Do you want that life? Especially when everybody's heard, everybody's monitored. As my boy Sid would say, no pun to the army, everyone can be found, right? I mean, if the devil was Gibbs from NCIS. I'm pretty sure he was slapped Donoso upside the head. I'm like, what did you do that for? And some dumbass would be like, that's assault. I mean, think about it. How would he speak to him in the modern day and age, right? Because everybody's sounding real sweet these days, right? Not like a Black and Mild, but sounding real sweet, real nice, right? And then when somebody raises their voice sounding like DMX, they don't like it. But it's okay if it's in a musical format or theatrics. So I'll explain it in a different way, right? Because people use fear to like not get people to move forward, right? Because if you read the Quran, you see other things, right? If you read backwards, you see other things, right? Depending if you understand the etymology or etymony of it. Now, let's talk about Judas, right? In the Liberian, they had the Judas chalice, the original 13 pieces that got melted down, that turned, made the first vampires, all this. That was in the TV show, not TV show, the movie, The Liberian, The Curse of the Judas Chalice, right? And we all know Judas betrayed Jesus with a kiss. Well, let me ask you this. If we were in the modern day and age, if homosexuality, and you were in the closet and you were scared to come out, and that was looked at badly, right? But yet you like NASCAR, but you are scared of a fucking rainbow flag. What's the problem? Why would he betray him with a kiss? Was that your boyfriend? Did you like love each other like that? Was that your like babe? You know what I'm saying? Was that like your boo thing? You gotta like fix your eyebrows and look good, because I made sure I look like Andrew Tate today. Look, I shaved my head. I made sure I got some muscles, right? I mean, what was it? What is it that got people so upset? Right? I mean, think about it. You conduct a SWOT analysis in business, but somebody doesn't understand the quote, 2 birds, 1 stone. Well, Jesus was stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? However, when he was put on the cross, one thief asked for forgiveness, right? Another thief said, oh, if you got magic and you got power, put money in my fucking pocket. Who do you think Jesus would save? That stupid motherfucker running his mouth that probably don't even want to die first? That probably said, who dies second? I'll do that. Don't worry. No, I don't want to do that. Or the one who's about that life. So did Judas betray Jesus? Or was Jesus looking for a real one no matter how far he had to go to find one? Even on the cross, which is sometimes called the crucifix. That's when there's a body on it. It's a cross when there's no body on it. Cross is also known as a traitor in the UK, i.e. treason. But let's continue. Because, you got people that, oh, well, I'm not satisfied with this. I'm not satisfied with this. Why do you do that church thing? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? Blah, blah, blah. Women this. Women should have this. Why aren't there more women in the Bible? Well, how do you protect women if everybody knows who they are and their fucking names? Answer. Probably not. Because you want to be showboating. You want to put yourself out there and you're like, how'd you guys find me? Well, because you want it to be exposed, honey. Now, there's a difference between a honey badger and a honey trap. But when you're a con artist, you work the badger. When you're in a different field, you work a honey trap. And if you're in business, you build a honey pot so you can catch Winnie the Pooh. And then when they get caught, they shit on themselves. I guess they call that a poo or poo-poo, right? Or a poo-pee. Stop saying that. So what would Judas do? Because they kept some things out, right? Now, if the average person is not unintelligent but uninformed, and they remove some stuff called the Apocrypha, aren't you forgetting and missing certain things? How intelligent do you feel if there's stuff left out that they did not tell you or explain? Think about it before you run your mouth. Okay, Cupcake? Think about it real hard. You might see Bobby Mercer. I think they fought on ice, and then he got put in ice like a freezer. Now, if you want to rap about it, talk about it, be about it, brag about it, well, then you have to understand that devil dog is God spelled backwards, right? God lived spelled backwards, right? Dog is God spelled backwards. That's what I said the first time. Don't correct me. Don't jump the gun. Be patient. I heard it's a virtue. And a movie with kangaroos if you're into Australia. And Crocodile Dundee hunted poachers. Code for something else if you want to be crazy and do something in front of the Supreme Courthouse. So let's talk about it. So if devil dog is God lived spelled backwards, why would Drakes make devil dogs but Twinkies could survive a nuclear blast, twin? Don't you think that you can change a lot of words but you can't change numbers? Isn't there a book called that? All them books and no fucking brains. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, in 8 Mile, where at the end he's like, fuck a Papa Doc, fuck a clock, fuck a trailer, fuck everybody. Fuck y'all if you doubt me. I'm a piece of Puerto Rican, Dominican trash, and I say it proudly. Sleeping in my car, and y'all niggas are proud to be. Right? Fuck this battle. I don't want to win. I'm outie. Someone else said they don't want nothing to do with it, right? Not his fight. But they keep pushing for it. They keep pushing. Right? Why? Why are they pushing for it? They were going to build Alligator Alcatraz. Now, in 8 Mile, he said, fuck a clock. And Captain Hook was scared of a clock from a crock. Unless that's what you walk in, that is. Unless those are J's you rockin', because they're so fucking expensive. Right? Or are those Vans, but they look like sneakers? You get the same shit at Walmart for half the price. And you guys talk about this, that, and the third. The Ochia, anime, blah, blah, blah. I wish I understood Chinese or Japanese so I could say something, right? Remember, in Captain Hook with Robin Williams, who committed suicide, that Tony Robbins talks about, right? There's a part where he has a short sword because somebody's always trying to measure willies, if you know what I'm saying, right? And he takes the sword and he draws a line on the ground because all the borders, all the boundaries, everything, they didn't care about it. They just kept poking, pushing the button, poke the bear. Let's see what gets him upset. Let's see what gets him going. Let's see what gets him saying something, so on and so forth, right? It's like a martial artist that comes out. I'm going to step back here. And he takes his foot and he draws a line. And he says, pass that one. Now, if you've seen my other videos, you would understand that I talked about working out, right? So on and so forth, fighting, etc. Sometimes people hold or pull back their punches because they don't want to hurt people. But then, you know, you got other people that be like, oh, if I could do this, I want to do this to him. I want to do that to him. I want to do this to him. And then they use large language models to reiterate stuff incorrectly to other people. So they get triggered, so they could commit murder or trick them into killing somebody. I wonder what MK is. Murder, killing, right? But you guys like music. It's subliminal advertising. Now, what if Jesus was in the desert with the devil and be like, yo, dumbass, you ever seen Terminal List on Amazon Prime? Right? Well, if it was the modern day, are you terminal? Is your business worth $12 billion? They can't figure out cancer, so you're terminal and you're on a list slowly committing murder while they kill you softly with their song? Or are you on the other side, like a Jeffrey Epstein list? You got to choose. Remember, I did class, science and spirituality. Spirituality encompasses all of them, so I hope you unite. There's a sticker that says coexist, but you motherfuckers wish to exist the way you keep pushing buttons. I told this to a guy named Sammy. I said, you're hearing it from someone's mouth in front of you. There's certain things I don't deal with. Now, S&S can say stop suicide, but you call 988 for a reason. Wonder whose birthday that is. Now, why would you do that, stupid? Why would you be that stupid? I mean, if that's true, right? Let's say Jesus liked Jeffrey Dahmer, right? Who I think was a cannibal. And he fell into gluttony. So he started tricking people with psychology, so on and so forth, to increase the food supply. But the food supply was poison, right? Think about it. Fucking think about it. Murder and killing is wrong. That's the sixth, right? See, Marines, we're different, right? A lot of people will say certain things, but some people are trained differently, right? You have a GOP and you have a POG, right? You guys worry about the GOP and all that stuff, right? And then the grunts will call us POGs for a reason. Personnel other than grunts. If you were in the military, you would understand that, but you're probably going to bite this and say it in the street like you are. A fucking pretender. And if you need help, it was from Stomp the Yard, where his brother got killed. You remember Chris Brown. But you code in Python, right? Or is that C#, like a hashtag? Do those even work when you advertise organically? If you're getting anything out of this, if you want to see more, smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, yada, yada, yada. I'll give the money to somebody else who probably needs it. Now, what would Jay do in this situation, right? Because, I mean, the motherfucker went in, flipped tables at a church, probably stood up and shit. But then he got called out when he went in front of freaking whoever was running the place. They're like, that's not him. Why didn't he get killed the first time? But he got killed the second time. See what I'm saying? He already had a bunch of witnesses. Can I get a witness? Why didn't he get killed the first time in front of all the witnesses? Why did he get in trouble for healing people? Did he ask for money? Probably not. Because back then they didn't have insurance, right? You know, you can't commit insurance fraud without insurance. And if you got no insurance, I'll get rid of you in like 24 hours. Give you like 7 pills, tell me how you feel in the morning. Happened to a friend of mine. Unless Charlotte doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about. But then again, what's a federal crime? I don't know. But we could go into it in a second. See, I said something to a very attractive woman. They said the devil went down to Georgia, and this woman's name was Savannah, and so is my boy Lance and Tony, so I'm going to just throw it out there. She came out in this sexy black outfit one time, but she didn't like the way I was teaching her son. And I remember one time we had a couple drinks, and I was like, you know, in certain books, someone wrestled and became Israel, right? Now, divide by 2 is Ra-El. Ura. Hua for some of you army guys. But Ra during the Egyptian time was the god of the sun or something like that. and El is a word that links to God. There are no kings in a world ruled by lords, right? Elohims, which is plural in certain contexts. But if it got left out because there can only be one because you motherfuckers want to play Highlander. Remember, it was translated from the Greek. All them books and no fucking brains. I'm going to keep saying it till you get it. So you have all that, right? You got the list. You got the list over here, a list over there. Santa's checking it twice. Trust me, you don't want to get in trouble with red. So, check this out. Do you remember Kingdom of Heaven? If you've seen that movie, right? There was a gentleman, if you ever see Scent of a Woman, Al Pacino goes, I don't know where you're sending this kid, maybe to Argonne or something. But there was a movie called Aragon, right? And in Aragon, the same character in there was the one that screamed the silence in the room in Kingdom of Heaven. But yet there were hotheads in the room also wearing crosses. Just because you look the same doesn't mean you are the same. I don't care what color your skin is, what nationality you are. Just because you look the same doesn't mean you are the same. Psychology 101. Hence, holistic medicine. But they don't practice that. It'd be too hard. They'd have to do work. It might be the reason why it would actually justify their high salary, right? Why they make $12 billion, right? You should go watch The Resident on Netflix. See what they do to cover up when a doc fucks up. That's called malpractice. Being negligent. If you know a real estate agent, you could transfer this over, call it lack of due diligence on the inspection part, especially when they failed. You might catch black mold or something unless somebody's looking out for somebody. And so there was a hothead in Kingdom of Heaven, and one was pushing for war. Now, I don't know if you've seen Rush Hour 2 with Jackie Chan, with the Beach Boys and everything like that. War! Huh! What is it good for? Absolutely fucking nothing. Nothing good comes from that. Even if you drive a fucking Ram, you could compensate all you want. No offense, 2311. I got some grunts that really want to do something, unless they're civvies. So there might be a shortage soon, just in case. And don't even get me started about Dodge. Because then I got to talk about Dane Cook. Dane Cook got screwed over by his brother, and Britney Spears got put into a mental house so that, mental house so that they could take all her money. But the interesting thing was that the one that got left in charge, and it was a similar concept in The Gladiator, right? Because in The Gladiator, there was the son, and then there was the general played by Russell Crowe. And the son wanted to kill Russell Crowe because he wanted the position. Right? Weird. Why would he want to kill him? Because he was upset, envious, jealous. He already had everything. What more could he ask for? One cared about the people. The other cared about himself. If you're in business, one made a profit and the other one made business to profiteer, to cause tears. One wanted to go to war and the other one wanted peace, but will do anything to protect the people in Kingdom of Heaven. And so when Sahaladin came out to talk and negotiate terms, but because he saw that Balian's son was, well, not one to be trifled with, right? He said, what are your terms? And he said, I'll let all your people go, even your soldiers, your women, the children, everything else. Grant them safe passage, etc. What's this place worth to you? He goes, you do all that, etc. He goes, well, if I don't, he goes, I will make sure I burn everything to the fucking ground so that there's nothing for you to cherish. Do you understand? Are you tracking? Don't try to be slick or cute right now. I'm not the one. I am not the one. He didn't say it quite like that, though. He wanted to use pillow talk. Not necessarily, but they were discussing certain things. I'm hoping that anybody who's receiving this right now, though, can copy or understand what I'm saying. Or pick up what I'm laying down and not play dumb. Until I say a word like mattress because they need a nap. Wait, pan spelled backwards. So they came to terms. And Ava Green, who was in there and a couple other movies along with 300 and Rise of the Empire, right? She just looked at him and was like, because at a certain part in the movie, she's like, you know, I've been with your father, right? And he goes, okay, and? See, he cared about the people. Go do your thing, Mom, as they would say in modern day and age. And you know what? He saved the people. Because even when he got there, one of the first things they started to brag about and bring to his attention is, oh, you're now this now. We have this, 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 and this. And you know what he said? The one thing we don't have is clean drinking water. So why advertise charity water if you're not actually going to do something with it? Why advertise that you're about it, but when you're fucking not? Why run your mouth for a paycheck or for dollars? One's paper or digital. The other is something else. And if you're only as strong as the weakest link in the chain, what good is blockchain? So in Kingdom of Heaven, the people got to go free. See, because even in Kingdom of Heaven, let me back up. There was a part where a priest or a preacher, somebody got pissed off. He didn't give a fuck. And he told everybody to kneel. And he made them knights. And he said, what, do you think making people a knight is going to make them a better fighter? And because I'm a Marine, I could tell the body language, the presence, the face. He turned around, got in his face like he was Dwayne Johnson. It was like, yes, it does. Wonder why they came to terms. Because if you watch the movie, the hothead that wanted to go to war, because it was probably not a good idea, they all died. The one that stayed, the real one that was about that life, not the one that wanted to say, care to go further? Probably watched too much Star Trek or didn't believe in Blue Beam. Unless he knows how to build a lightsaber. That's right, right? He knows how to do that so he can do a chicken and egg trick. Even in Ocean's 11, it wasn't about the money. You can make synthetic diamonds and gems and everything. That's why Thanos got his ass kicked by Captain Marvel, right? All the Infinity Stones in the world, but yet in Eternals, they were popping them off like nothing. Because you could make them. If you're smarter than a fifth grader, you've grown crystals in science class, right? You can also make synthetic gems. They'll have a serial number like a dollar bill. Check yourself, not I. And you can make money. You can do more with less. Weight, that is. See, because a gemstone doesn't weigh that much. And it's completely legal. And if people can't afford the real thing, they can buy the synthetic thing, right? Blade used synthetic blood. The others that were in gluttony wanted the real thing, etc. So go to the bank for it. So if you don't believe that there's a better way of doing things, watch some of the movies that I quoted. Do some other stuff. Go to a fucking library and read a book. And don't be scared to keep going. Because I'll tell you right now, Star Wars and Star Trek are real, then so are direct energy weapons, the way they can manipulate the brain, how a tiny little cube can be grinded down, placed in your mouth, and they can control you, make you feel like you want to do certain things, confusing everybody else. Oh, he's doing this, so let's do this. You have to zig when they zag. Oh, because you're fucking Zorro, right? Well, where does your perspective or your perception lie? Because you're either using time, which if you're in physics or science, Z represents time in certain aspects. And if you shift it, since you want to talk so much, by the way, he was in Suits, the actor in that movie, that is. It creates the letter N, and that's force. So whether you believe in Star Trek or Star Wars or science or spirituality, which way do I got to turn it? Do you need more time? Or do you want to just force things to happen? So, being that I wanted to say all this and express my freedom of speech, however, in the First Amendment, it doesn't cover thought. So if they were able to utilize advanced technology, interpret thoughts, project that to other people so that they misinterpret everything, like missing books from a book, then they're lost in the sauce and they're going to end up in a vat, if that makes sense. Think about it. Think about it. What is a coercion labeling? See, it's somewhere here. 18 USC 2331 parentheses 5. Labeling. If people are already led to believe that you're crazy, and they keep saying, yo, this guy's crazy. But if you're a Marine, they say, yo, crazies, what up? Or, hey, you who? Does it matter? What's in a name? To be or not to be. But you take a test with a 2B pencil. Violations against First Amendment rights. Well, if they're like children, and we're all children looking for someone to guide us, and if you believe in God or whatever you call it, and we're all their children, well, then you would understand that, well, children will always, sometimes be up to no good. They do solemnly swear. So if they could get around it, because thought is not specifically in there, then if they could interpret that, project it out to others incorrectly, frame you, because you got to control people's frame or their point of view in frames, right? Then you could do that. That was Apollo Robbins that discussed that, who was in Focus. And Focus, they had a Toledo panic button, but they should have hired Bob Arno. Now, Bob Arno is an old school OG, which gave birth to, well, Apollo Robbins, so on and so forth. And that's a different community, right? And I actually got to meet Bob Arno, right? Weird. If you need proof, you can check Facebook or ask my mother about it. I'm sure she's got a lot to say. Conspiracy against rights. Do you have human rights? Well, according to 18 USC subsection 241, somewhere in there, unless you want to go through my phone, you do. And if you saw the first episode of The Resident, you'd know my situation. No touch terrorism. ECPA, Electronic Communication Privacy Act. It's a federal law, in case you don't know what that is. Here, I'll bring the notebook up to you, in case you don't like that movie. Professional intimidation. 24-hour labeling. When I read the medical journals, it takes 3 years. So you're going to prolong it until you're correct? Doxing. Sounds like dexing, but doxing's illegal. Doxing, First Amendment, 18 USC, subsection 119, 18 USC, 2261 alpha, comma, GS subsection 14 tac 196.3. Imminent threat. Organized harassment. That's another one. GS14 Tech 277.3 Alpha, North Carolina. 18 USC 2261 Alpha, Federal. Abuse of process and malicious prosecution. I'm sure you heard the words due process, right? Group stalking, harassment, neural gang stalking, honeypot trap, aka sad rat, aka labeling, torturous interference, lying to others to damage, so on and so forth, career, etc. Civil conspiracy, that would enact FISA Act 702. Case law, negligence, duty of care, vernacular assault, defamation, cybercrime, stalking, financial fraud. Remember, I talked about insurance fraud, right? But if you ain't got insurance, are they still going to do their job? The joint, I don't know. That's something different. North Carolina sheriff, that's in the news, in the media, or on the air, as they say. Article 6, Section 2, Supremacy Clause, the law of the land, the Constitution is in there, right? But you want to walk around near the Supreme Court tapping your head like you know something. Not properly notified. Reference, Mullane versus Central, Central Hanover, 1950. You got no due process. Reference, Goldberg versus Kelly. It's right there. But if these don't exist, or they only help out those that, well, are in power or have power or have the ability to intimidate so many people that the rules don't apply to them and they want a war, I'm not going to be like The Rock and say, just bring it. I'm just going to say that's going to lead to nothing. If you destroy everything, there'll be nothing for you to consume and to commit all your deadly sins, gluttony and everything else, right? Gluttony is another form of greed, right? Because you need money to buy all the shit that you're going to be gluttonous with. How many cars you have? How many of this you have? How many of that you have? How do you get it? Do you buy it or you steal it? Tell that motherfucker put money in my pocket. The murderer got off. Why? Coercion and duress. Sorry, my tooth was hurting. Coercion and duress, right? What is duress? Look it up. Civil, RICO, fraud, wire, scheme, reference, USC Article 6, Cooper versus Aaron, 1958. Somewhere in there. If you need a check, I went to the library, go check my GPS. I know you got the information. Financial tampering. Weird. If you go into someone's account that you know that they're going to transfer money out of and you switch it to somewhere else, is that financial tampering? I don't know. Could be. V2K. Voice to skull technology violation. It is. 18 USC 2511 GS 14 Tech 196.3 Food and Drug Administration FDA FCC. Symptoms of V2K are misdiagnosis and can be seen as a psychiatric condition. Look it up. Hope your doctors are correct and not acting like the doctor from The Resident. The surgeon that killed the patient on the table wanted everybody to cover, even though one sucked their teeth and said, are we being tested? Because they knew the person was fine. 42 USC 1983, color of law, bypass constitutional rights, wiretap, ECPA, or Title 50, make up a story. Negligent infliction of emotional distress. Fictitious online persona subjective to entrapment to trigger a response. Outrageous government conduct, due process violation. chemically restrained, then put in front of a doctor so that they could involuntarily commit somebody to protect somebody. Darren Brown, who's a magician, actually talks about hypnosis. I suggest you go look him up on YouTube if you think it's fake, or go watch the movie Now You See Me, Now You Don't, whatever the case. You know, the color code RICO case 18 USC subsection 1961 TAC 1968 subsection 102. You have 21 USC S subsection 802. You have 34 USC subsection 12601. If these don't exist or apply to anybody, then nothing else exists or applies to anybody. You guys did that. And either you know that they broke laws and they got away with it, and you're letting it fucking happen to cover someone or some bodies or multiple people's asses, or you're not. Figure it the fuck out. Please. I'm ready when you are. So stop with the threats. Anybody that has a GWAT, fear doesn't work. And I don't have a flight mechanism. I had to build that in over time. Most people are too hard-headed or fucking stupid to get it. Marines, if you could hear this, whenever you do, or if you don't, think about it. When you get something right, they say give them one, and we say kill. But that's not the word we use when things are administratively difficult, as they say. Whoever's in charge of kinetic strikes. See, that's a clever way of talking about kinetic energy, not potential energy. See, an object in motion should stay in motion, but that's perpetual motion. A kinetic strike could be an energetic one. And if you know somebody that likes to brag about that, talk about that, do all that, because, well, you can't see the wind, but you can't see electricity either until it's condensed. Does it still exist? If I were to turn this camera around, you have flags blowing. Now, is that air, oxygen that you're breathing, or the wind making it move? You can't see Wi-Fi or Bluetooth either, but that shit works, right? Just like radio waves. I'll talk to you guys later on another episode or video, however you want to describe it, of Finding Freedom. I bid you adieu.